Nearly half of Credit One's customers get hit with surprise fees, and that's only one of the ways this apex financial predator eats its victims. Today I'll show you how they bait, trap, and drain their targets, and how to make sure you're not next. You're approved, no security deposit, cashback rewards. Rebuild your credit, even if it's not perfect. That's the pitch. But the moment you say yes, the trap snaps shut. Your limit is gutted by fees before you even touch the card. Interest starts ticking the second you swipe, and every move you make, every payment, every mistake is another opportunity for them to charge you more. This isn't about helping you back on your feet. It's about keeping you just behind, confused, in debt, and paying for it. Because companies like Credit One don't profit when you succeed. They profit when you struggle. They profit when their boot is on your neck. Credit One Bank didn't start out as the brand we know today. Back in 1984, it began life in Marin County, California, under the name First National Bank of Marin, a small operation, relatively unknown, tucked away in San Rafael. But over time, it shifted course. In 1996, it was granted a credit card bank designation, allowing it to issue credit cards across the US. And by 1998, it had moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. Not for the weather. Nevada was a haven for financial institutions wanting looser regulations and more freedom to operate under the radar. Then came Ben Navarro. Born in Massachusetts, Navarro didn't come from generational wealth or a legacy banking family. He graduated from the University of Rhode Island in 1984, the same year the bank he would eventually own was founded. Navarro worked his way up in the financial world, eventually becoming a top executive at Citigroup. But what really built his fortune was debt. In 1998, he founded Sherman Financial Group, which became one of the largest debt buyers in the country. In 2005, Sherman acquired First National Bank of Marin. By 2006, the bank had rebranded itself as Credit One Bank, and Navarro was now at the helm of a credit card issuer targeting one very specific group, the people who had been turned away by everyone else. Credit One Bank markets itself as a lifeline. They don't use the word predator. They say they are offering people a way back into the financial system. Their branding speaks to empowerment. They promise cashback, credit tracking, and approval even if your score isn't perfect. But when you peel back the surface, the reality is far more sinister. Credit One targets people who are already struggling, those who've been denied by other banks, people with bad credit, people rebuilding after medical debt, divorce, or unemployment, people with limited financial knowledge or just limited options. And once they get them through the door, the real game begins. What's promised as a path to credit improvement often turns into a cycle of punishment. Many customers are approved for cards with a limit of only $300. But before they even swipe it once, fees begin eating into that limit. Suddenly, they owe money for a card they haven't even used. The interest rates are staggering. Annual percentage rates stretch into the high 20s, sometimes near 30%. Customers find themselves trapped, trying to pay off a card that keeps charging them just for existing. And that's not all. There are monthly maintenance fees, processing fees for making payments quickly, charges for paying early, charges for paying late, charges for not using the card enough. There's no grace period. Interest starts accruing the second you swipe. Even when you try to pay responsibly, the system is built to keep you just behind, always owing. And then there's the reporting. People pay off their balances, only to discover Credit One still reports them as having debt. Their credit scores drop. Their progress is erased. A card they got to rebuild their credit ends up damaging it even more. This isn't just frustrating, it's destructive. And over the years, the backlash has grown. Credit One has been hit with lawsuits, investigations, and regulatory scrutiny. In the early 2000s, the federal government called out their abusive practices. They were fined millions of dollars for misleading customers, encouraging them to deposit fees for cards that came with no real spending power. And it didn't stop there. In one shocking case, a woman was awarded over $200,000 after Credit One robo-called her 465 times.
465 robocalls. That is the constant headache that one Western New York woman has had to live with. So she fought back, and as 7 Eyewitness News reporter Jenny Johnson shows us tonight, this one lady finally has her revenge.
That's not customer service. That's harassment. Other lawsuits have alleged violations of the Truth in Lending Act. Bankruptcy courts have called them out for attempting to collect debts that were already discharged. They've been accused of delaying payment postings to rack up more late fees, and of falsely reporting disputed balances to credit agencies, hurting the very scores they claim to help improve. Customers describe hours on the phone trying to resolve simple issues, getting bounced around different departments just to eventually be disconnected, having to mail paper forms just to close an account. It's all part of a system designed not for financial empowerment, but for profit. So let's be honest. How dare they? How dare they dress up manipulation as assistance? How dare they pretend to be a second chance when all they're doing is pulling people deeper into debt? Credit One isn't helping people. They're hunting them, targeting those who are vulnerable, taking advantage of people who are rebuilding after hardship, offering approval but attaching invisible chains. This isn't a glitch in the system, it is their system. Their profits depend on confusion, on desperation, on late payments, hidden fees, and people who don't know their rights. And let's not forget, this isn't some faceless machine. This is the business model of a man who built his empire by buying up other people's debt. A man who figured out that if you couldn't make money lending to rich people, you could make a killing by charging poor people more. If you're trying to rebuild your credit, you deserve better than this. There are safer options. Consider secured credit cards from well-established banks. They may require a deposit, but they don't come with a trapdoor. Look into credit unions, who often have community-based missions and better terms. Check your credit reports regularly. Know what's being said about you. If something's wrong, dispute it. Don't let Credit One or any other predatory lender dictate your future. And if you've been mistreated, don't stay silent. File a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and speak up. These companies count on people giving up and staying quiet. Predatory lenders rely on customers with limited knowledge of how credit works. Your best defense against them is knowledge. There are a lot of resources available to help. For starters, one of the most overlooked resources is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's a government agency, but don't let that scare you off. Their site is stacked with step-by-step guides that walk you through how credit works. Then there's annualcreditreport.com, the only site authorised by federal law to give you free access to your credit reports from all three bureaus. For a long time, you could only check once a year, but after the chaos of the pandemic, they made it free every week. That's an open window to keep tabs on your financial record with no gimmicks and no subscriptions. And if you need one-on-one help, there's something for that too. Non-profit credit counselling agencies like the National Foundation for Credit Counselling offer free and low-cost sessions with certified counsellors. These aren't the shady, fix your credit in 24 hours companies. These are legit, HUD-approved organisations that help people map out a budget, negotiate with creditors, and make a realistic plan to move forward. Even public libraries, yes, libraries, have started offering free workshops on financial literacy. Some partner with local credit unions. Others bring in guest speakers to talk about student loans, identity theft, or building credit from scratch. No account required, just show up. People have used these resources to claw their way out of credit score hell, to finally get approved for an apartment, to buy a used car without a 20% interest rate, or even just to open a savings account and feel a little less afraid of checking the balance. None of this makes the system used by predatory lenders like Credit One fair, and it doesn't erase the fact that the rules were written by people who profit off your misfortune. But it does mean the game isn't unwinnable. And once you know how to play it, even just a little, it's harder for them to exploit you. Companies like Credit One Bank want you to believe they're on your side, that they're helping you take a step toward financial freedom. But the truth is, they are not your ally. They are a business built on struggle, a machine engineered to drain money from people who can least afford to lose it. And they've done it under the disguise of being a solution. That is not just misleading, it's dangerous. If you or someone you know has been hurt by this kind of lending, please share your story in the comments. Perhaps your story can help prevent it from happening to someone else. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please hit the like button. If this kind of content is something you would like to see more of, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment. I read and respond to every comment that is left on our videos, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Until next time, thank you for watching.